So good afternoon, well, late morning, almost afternoon. Relatively quick word for y'all this morning. Never take God's allowing of a thing as his affirmation for it. Never take what God allows as his affirmation of what he allows. I think that one person in particular in the Bible that understood this was King David. David had Saul delivered into his hand on plenty of occasions, and he never, not once, took matters into his own hands and killed Saul, who was his mortal enemy. Why? Because he still understood that although Saul wasn't God's choice anymore, that Saul was still anointed. And I will include myself in the number of many of us who perceive people not to have the hand of the Lord on them anymore, who think that because it's not on them anymore, we can talk to them any certain kind of way. But rest assured, at the end of the day, in spite of what God allows in the respect of life of anybody, God, at the end of the day, still loves all men. And so with that, I just say never take God's allowance of occurrences in people's lives as his affirmation. Don't do it. You know, people get confused about things like God hates divorce, but yet they get confused about the fact that divorce is allowed, right? Is God affirming divorce by allowing it to happen? No, he's not. Men and women are free moral agents that have a choice. They have a choice to reconcile or not to reconcile. They have a choice. In the heart and mind of God, marriage is forever. I'm just speaking in that context because it kind of hits home for me. But in the heart and mind of God, marriage is quite literally forever. God doesn't ever affirm divorce. Allows it, yeah. But at the end of the day, God looks deeper than that. God is not sitting on the sidelines cheering somebody on when he's committed to us the ministry of reconciliation. It wouldn't make sense for him to commit to us the ministry of reconciliation and then to actively look at divorce as an end in and of itself. It doesn't. Either God hates divorce or he doesn't, and God does hate divorce. So does he affirm divorce? Not at all. Doesn't at all affirm divorce. Not ever. You can allow it. You can also allow for reconciliation, but the thing about reconciliation is, just like with the allowance of divorce, it works the same way with the allowance of reconciliation. At the end of the day, the human that these affairs go through is ultimately responsible for their actions. Anyways, let's get off the trail a little bit. But what I want to say is, don't be too quick to jump on somebody's demise. I think there's a scripture that says that as well. Don't be so quick to jump on somebody's demise unless the Lord's going to see it turn the tables. And I think that there's a plenty of people that think that they're good because, you know, when crap hit the fan, they didn't do anything to help the situation out. They didn't love their enemies. They didn't pray for those who despitefully used them. Quite the contrary, they jumped on the cheering squad like that's what that person deserved. That's not the Spirit of God. At the end of the day, the Spirit of God is the Spirit and the ministry of reconciliation. So just don't be deceived by what God allows, because what God allows doesn't mean it's necessarily what he affirms. It's not. It's just not. It's just not. God allowed the death of Lazarus too, and then Jesus wept, and then rose him from the dead, said that the death wasn't unto death itself, but it was for the glory of God. I just think that as spiritual people, sometimes we got to look further than our flesh, because God can get us to do certain things because it feeds our flesh, and God will use certain things because it feeds our flesh. But actually, after that, we have to look deeper. Okay, of course, we come to Christ because we don't want to go to hell, but coming to Christ is a lot more than about not going to hell. It's about living for God in the here and now. Most people, they come to Christ because they don't want to go to hell. And then it's these same people who came for shallow reasons that wind up leaving for shallow reasons as well. And at the end of the day, all I'm advocating for, I guess, with this video is that we look deeper than the surface. And that we start to be a people that truly understand the heart of God beyond what we perceive. Hope that made sense.